Call this the Oswego Bobolink Project. So I spent a lot of time out at Rice Creek, and I happened to notice that this interesting bird species was out at Fallbrook. And it's an unusual species for this area. It's a species of sort of conservation concern. And so I sort of tripped over it as a project, sort of just by realizing that this interesting charismatic bird was out there in these fields. And then it was just a matter of sort of finding a student, that wanted to take the project and run with it and sort of figuring out where to go from there.
Birds are pretty cool. And so I reached out and I was like, I like your research that you've done. And when I went here, I was already hoping that I could get more information or get more experience on behavior and those types of things. And so I reached out and asked if there's anything that could be done or any type of things like that.
These are hay fields, essentially, that the college owns. And so this species, the bobolink, this is this blackbird species related to red-winged blackbirds that most people are more familiar with. And they're really a wide-open grassland specialist. So you find them, out in the Great Plains and areas where there are bigger patches of grassland. We had these fields around Fallbrook, and the bobolinks were using them. And to their credit, the administration just said, oh, we've been leasing these fields to the hay farmers, sort of. If there's these cool birds in there and you want to study them, we'll just stop leasing the fields to the farmers, and you can study the birds and you can manage the fields.
And where they're going to be laying their nests, it's all going to be in the grass. I remember when they first came, it was super cool to just see the one male, the males, they arrived first, just to see him singing atop the tree. And so that's where it kind of began. Then throughout the summer, just observing them and seeing kind of whether or not this type of management scheme would work out for them.
And so that's sort of what we've tried to do since then, is to monitor the birds' usage of the field, figure out, do they like the fields? How many of them, will move in there and breed? Are they being successful there? Are they actually successfully raising offspring?
My quest presentation, it's basically just detailing what our successes were in the year. One of the main things we want to see is how successful were they in raising their offspring here.
Once I find a student that's really, motivated and excited, about doing bird work, I just try to open doors for them and just, let them walk through and do their thing. And so it's been a real pleasure working with Nikki and all the other students I've had in my lab, because they just take advantage of every opportunity they can.